Yeah, very, very satisfied with the progress we've made since day one. I feel like we get better every time we go out there. Our basic understanding of our scheme is obviously light years ahead of where it was a year ago because you have a lot of guys back, but we do have a ton of newcomers that have come in here and are doing a good job of handling the scheme. I feel like we're in pretty good shape. I feel like we're on target. Now, what do we need to do better between now and Michigan State? We got to really refine our techniques, refine and be sharper with our alignments, our communications, our fits. They just got to get cleaner. You know, there's times where you kind of go into the right place, but it's not as sharp and as fast as it needs to be against anybody, much less a Big Ten team. So we've got to get a lot sharper in the next couple of weeks, and I know we will. We'll get better every time we go out there.
One of the things that Coach has repeated several times this fall is that you guys played winning defense in the majority of the losses last year, but you've improved, and that's a good step. Where are some of the improvements that you can key on right away?
Well, I'd say the first area that we've improved in is personnel. We have bigger, faster, stronger players, some of which have had experience at some big time schools. You know, they came in as grown men. They go out there to improve every day. They're focused on what they need to do. They show up to work every day. I can't tell you that was the case last year with 100% of the guys 100% of the time. So I feel like that's one area we've really grown in. The other one is really just, again, basic knowledge of the scheme and picking up on the new things that we researched in the off season, and applying those through our walkthroughs starting in January till now, and really having an understanding of what we need done as a scheme on defense. I think those are the two major areas. We can do more now because our guys can handle more.
Last year you mentioned specifically Jackson Ambush was a grown man, and then you just referred to the defense as grown men. Do you feel like that has become a room of man to men?
I do, and even some of the younger guys, you know, like Wilkie and Bryce Langston, who are younger, they came in as grown men, and you know, like Bugs. I mean, I could go on and on. They come in as grown men because they're focused and they have goals and they want to get somewhere, and you don't have to motivate them to be focused and locked in and show up and play hard every play. You can focus more on coaching their technique and what they should be doing. When you have a room full of those guys, it's really fun to coach because they show up to get better every day. And then when you're not looking, they have guys that are younger behind them on the sideline, coaching them on things they should do better. So when we say grown man, I think they're just mature and serious about their job, and it's a lot of fun to be around guys like that.
Last one for me is last weekend, for all intents and purposes, we thought that the defense had a great day. This weekend, you know that the offense will be coming gunning for you. How do you prepare for the second scrimmage?
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't matter if we're playing against our offense, Michigan State, or whoever we played in the last game of the year. It's about us. It's about what we do. I don't really focus on the opponent at all. We need to get lined up. Our key is never going to lie to us. Whatever our key tells us to do, if we go and execute better than our offense, Michigan State, or whoever it is in game 13, 14, 15 of the year, we'll have a chance to win that game. So don't really, you know, yeah, they're gonna have their hair on fire. They're gonna want to come out and quote unquote win. I don't, you know, I care about winning the games, but I want to execute. I want to play fast. I want to play physical. I want to see guys being sharp in their assignment. Also evaluating who can make the play on the ball when it's in the air, who can cover better, who can make the tackles in open field, so that we're putting the best players on the field. That's really what I'm concerned about in the scrimmages, not so much the score. I mean, I guess as a man, you always want to win, but I'm more concerned about the progress we're making.
When you sat up there on day two, one of the areas you mentioned is takeaways. And I think we're seeing that in camp. Are you happy with the number of times your guys had their hands on the football?
Okay, yeah, yes. Pleased that it's heading in the right direction, right? There's obviously we're tweeting out the takeaway kings of the day. It means we're getting some, which is a good thing. There's always room for improvement. And a guy named Colin Spencer on our staff is one of our assistant DB coaches. That's kind of his baby to help me keep track of how we're doing in terms of attacking the football. He researches videos of other colleges, of NFL film, of guys stripping the ball, when we should be looking for the opportunity to strip the ball. Then he shows missed opportunities in practice when we should be doing it and don't do it. And I think our guys are believing in that, and I think it's carrying. They're seeing some success on the field with it, and that's how you generate momentum. Takeaways is a mindset, and it'll never be a turnover here. we're not going to rely on mistakes of the offense to get the football. It's a takeaway. They don't turn the ball over to us. We have to take it away. So I think it's changing that mindset. And you can focus, again, on more of those things when you don't have to worry about as much of the little things of alignment and scheme and motivating guys to go harder and go longer. So I think we're definitely on the right track and making progress.
The schematics from last year, there was a graphic, I don't remember the particular numbers, but it was year over year, last year to the prior year, the improvement that the overall unit saw under your tutelage. I know that now that raises the bar a little bit more, but are you comfortable in saying that you could see another spike to where there's another year over year positive shift?
Yeah, I mean, that's the goal, is to be better than we were last year. You can't really control some of those things. You don't know how many possessions, you don't know the two new timing rules, how things are going to relate to that. But, that wasn't our major focus. That was, to make sure that we can go out and get the players we needed to get so they could see that there was progress being made. So that's why we did that. I hope we're tweeting out championship trophies and bowl rings and things of that nature. I really don't care about the stats. In this modern age of football, you're going to bleed, you're going to give up yards, you're going to even give up some points. But if you get enough stops to get off the field, you get the ball back for the offense, you win games. So, but obviously we want to be better than we were a year ago in every aspect. And, I think takeaways are a huge one in sacks, because sacks kill drives and takeaways give our offense more chances to score.
A ton of talent in that linebacker room between Jarrett, Dez, Eddie.
They all stink.
Oh, man. But how interchangeable do you feel like those guys are between the weak and the middle to try to maximize their playing time?
No, I don't. We don't really try to put a Will at Mike and a Mike at Will. They are different positions. The Mike have different responsibilities. They have an earpiece in their helmet, so they have to be used to hearing me yell at them during the middle of the play. And I don't want to put that into someone else's helmet. No, but in seriousness, you get really, in my opinion, we try to keep guys doing the same techniques over and over and over that they can do in their sleep, so that when the lights come on and you're in this stadium or that stadium, they rely on their training and they're doing what they've been trained to do every play, as opposed to now you got to go play the other position. The fit's a little bit different. The keys are a little bit different, and you can really weaken yourself at two positions. So I feel really good about our depth at both spots, Mike and Will. We have a bunch of guys who can play. The guys that you mentioned, but there's also guys like Makai Sawtell that he doesn't get a lot of reps. When he goes in there, he never makes a mistake. It means he's paying attention and doing his job. And then we got some young guys that are coming along, like Eduardo Nunez and Jarvis Johnson, Charquez. I feel really good about our room. I really like it, and they're a lot of fun to coach, and we have a good time in our room.
Yeah, you mentioned that. A lot of the guys that I mentioned are all seniors. So what does the future of that linebacker position look like, and is it something that you're confident in?
10 years ago, you can kind of tell what the future of that room would look like, right? Aziz was a freshman, you knew he'd be a sophomore. Yeah. And Nate Ozdemir was a sophomore, you knew he'd be a junior. I don't know what the future looks like in January. If I'm being honest, I have no clue. So I can't speculate on who will be here, who we'll go get. I know we got some really good commitments right now that I'm very happy with, and I know we're going to come in and challenge for jobs. We'll have a couple of young guys that are going to be hopefully still here next year that can grow in the system, become guys like the ones that will be walking out the door. But in today's day and age, man, I'm trying to enjoy today. It's one day at a time. I have a great group of players to coach, a great group of coaches to be around. I'm trying to enjoy today and get ready for the first game, and then we'll worry about the second game after that. It's just, you got to take it one day at a time. You got to be able to roll with the punches. This game has changed every 3 months for the past 5 years. The rules are changing. What you can do is changing. So we'll kind of see.
And then we heard a lot about C.J. Hurd the other day. What have you kind of liked from him in his freshman year that's allowed him to see a lot of playing time?
So I read, someone had a story on C.J. the other day, and I read it, and it talked about his routine of getting up at 4 o'clock in the morning and saying his prayers and getting into a routine that his mom had taught him. And I had spoken to the defense about my routine, how you can set your watch by it. I won't go into all the details, but you really can. I live a very boring life. And like Coach Saban said this a week or so ago on social media, boring is successful. When you do things, repeated habits over and over, they're boring to do. You can't get bored with success. You can't get bored with a winning routine. It's not a superstition or any of that. It's a winning routine. And I think CJ, at 18 years old, being a true freshman, I've never heard, even Aziz, I've never heard a freshman being that mature and having a routine and being that focused on his goals. to come in and do that, and that was really impressive to me. So that's an example of who he is, and he shows up to work every day. He's one of those grown men that we talk about. So he's going to be one of the very best players to play here if, when all is said and done, if he can stay on that track and not get bored with success.